With the rise of consumerism, you also see a rise in a sort of self ending. I don't know if YouTube will allow the actual word, but you also see a rise in a sort of self ending that is long term and usually lasts the lifetime of a person. But a person dies on the inside much faster than their physical body dies. People are addicted to killing themselves. There is a rise in slop, not only slop content, but physical, tangible slop. Look at the sort of food we are consuming in a day. Guys, a lot of our issues are caused by an unbalanced gut, but that's another topic for another video. The sort of food that we're eating, the sort of things that are allowed in Western countries. I went to a Western country once, and the sort of things that were allowed inside their food shocked me. It shocked me. And I'm like, no wonder there's a rise in depression. No wonder there's a rise in dysmorphia. No wonder there's a rise in um, all sorts of mental illnesses. We can also talk about the slop in our media. Slop in our media has grown expansively. Like, it's actually so crazy. You have, from the human sort of slop, you've got the prank channels of back in the day. Now you have actual AI slop, which is arguably even worse, if not as bad. And then you've also got slop in terms of people. Yes, guys, we have become the slop. Once enslaved, now we have personified it. Um, it's like sometimes when you speak to people, they are literally regurgitating the AI code of, or the sort of code that slop is written into, like the walking slop. I'm not talking about slop commentary channels that a lot of people are kind of talking about these days, but I also want to talk about slop in terms of the sort of things that we're consuming, the sort of things that we're buying with our own money. I would consider, what do you call this? Luxury wear, luxury goods as slop. If it doesn't have a function, if it's not functionable like sports sneakers or sport wear, because I'm a sporty person and I personally like Nike as a sport wear, but any other sport wear generally is as good. But if it's not functional, I define it as slop. And I'm not meaning like functional in terms of making you higher in some sort of weird, funky social circle. But if it's not functional in a way, I'd consider that slop. I'm talking about heavy makeup. I'm talking about um, even personalities. You have people who are almost produced in the same sort of factory that has the same you know, four NPCs of human being. So four flavors of human being. And they're the most sloppy flavors that you'd ever have in your taste in your entire life. But yeah, the slop is all around us. We're all as enslaved to the slop, and no one realizes how much this is killing us in the inside. When I mean that it's killing who we are on the inside more than faster than our physical bodies, I mean that it is killing, number one, our individuality, and it's killing our creativity. I'd say a person's individuality is really, really rooted in their creativity, although maybe not creativity in the modern sense, because there are different ways that you can be creative. You can be creative in the artistic sense. Um, you can be also creative in the scientific way, because things like physics and biology aren't just sciences; they're also arts, and you can be creative in those ways. But people have lost the ability to think outside of groupthink. Even thinking in a different way is seen as creativity, and people have lost that. People have lost their sense of individuality, and they have sold it for tokens so that they can be given a new face by the same mass producing four NPC types, archetypes of humans that I mentioned previously. Slop factory, if I can say. And a lot of this is manufactured in the West, but it doesn't mean it hasn't been spread to every country. If you are watching, obviously you're watching in your country, you can probably point out like three different types of archetypes of people in your country. I can definitely point that out. You've got the traditional lady or the traditional girly, you've got the baddie, and you've got the um let me say human rights sort of activist sort of girly, especially in this country. And then you've got the people who are different, which obviously they aren't enslaved by Slop, but obviously they are affected by it because living in this world, you'll still breathe the same air. You'll still breathe the same air that is contaminated, that the same contaminated air that people will breathe out, and you'll be affected by the Slop. It's why I'm so keen on saying that you should sorry, I'm zoning out. It's why I'm saying you should be wary in terms of the content that you're consuming. In the Bible, it says that what defines a man or a person, I'm paraphrasing heavily here, is not what a person consumes, but what comes out of their mouth. This is in reference to when I forgot who said it, but they're like, "But God, you said pigs are unholy," and he was like, "Don't call anything I made unclean or unholy." But yeah, and if you consume slop, that obviously does not define you, but what you make of it, what what it becomes inside your head, and what it becomes physically, obviously what affects you internally will obviously show up physically at some point. But what if you consume slop, you will become the slop. You'll be enslaved to the slop, and that is how you are killing yourself. You will portray that sort of slop, the one that you've been consuming. But if you somehow come across slop and choose not to internalize it, you will not become the slop, and you will not kill that individuality sort of creativity aspect of yourself. Yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say.